Hello, I'm Langston and I'm back on my channel, Gymlandia, and I'm back with Gymlandia's Ratchet. Listen, we back. It's Gymlandia's Ratchet 2025 Part 3. So I'm just going to be diving into it. It's a lot of things I want to talk about, and I'm going to be, just focusing on that. So since I've been gone, like I've been pretty busy. I've had a lot going on in my personal life. I went to Australia and Singapore, and I've also went to Okinawa since I've been gone. So I've been pretty busy, which has kind of limited my time. But I'm really motivated to come on here. Like I'm gonna be having another video come out later on this week, which I'm gonna give you a hint at the end to make sure you guys tune in, of course. Anyway, I'm gonna be diving straight into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is Euros. So with Euros, I did, mention a lot of the stuff on the live, but it's more I could have focused on. Manila, she be she did pretty good, obviously. She could have done better, but she be celebrating too early for me. That's how I feel personally. Like, girl, this is just Euro. Like all the crying and stuff like that. If she was the world title, I could see all of that. But this is just Euros, right? This is the stepping stone. But her performance is really good. Her beam is excellent as always. I'm glad she has both Losos back on beam. She does need to improve a little bit more on floor, but regardless, she did a really good job at Euros. Moving on to, Alicia, it has been a little minor downfall, I'm gonna say that. But again, a lot of gymnasts peak at the Olympics and they set themselves up for the aftermath. She could just be preparing to peak at Worlds this year. But regardless, we are seeing a regression, right? Like we're seeing that. And all we're noticing is the garlic knots just not as fresh as they used to be. I'm talking about like the spaghetti is getting a little old. I'm talking about like the spaghetti that you leave in the refrigerator for a couple of days. I'm trying to say, and it just don't the tomato sauce just not hitting the same. Like that's what it's starting to give a little bit. But we'll revisit her in a couple months. Jennifer Williams' beam is everything. Like I was very impressed by her balancing routine. I know we talked about it on the live, but she was the person who really shocked me the most at Euros. Like I was very appalled by her talent. Like she is a big contender for a B medal throughout this quad. I do want to say it is a little hilarious because Sweden is having a really big uh white nationalist rally. They've been very pro-Scandinavian as of recently, but to see how many Swedish people were turned up over this girl on the internet, it it was very hypocritical to me. But that's a topic for another day. Nina Durwell, a lot of y'all want to hate on her, right? Like Nina Durwell has a lot of haters. But all I can say is Queen Nina Durwell, Lordess of the Peoples of Europe, Duchess of the Benelux, Princess of Belgium, and the protector of all the European descendant peoples, regent and de facto ruler of Caucasia in Jade Carey's absence, she stood on motherfucking business. A lot of y'all want to hate on her, right? And she really is that girl. Like the beam gave, the bars gave. I'm talking about the bars. She needs to improve, but she still cleared Europe. Okay, that's all that matters. When you're the best in Europe on an event, that does set you up to be a prime contender for a world medal, right? So we weren't expecting that. Two European titles, she cleared house, and a lot of y'all want to hate on her, but at the end of the day, the results gave what they were supposed to give, and I love that for Nina. I'm a Nina stan, so I was very happy to see that from her. Anna Barbosi was still not able to put it all together in an all-around competition, but she did do pretty decent on beam and floor. I'm still at one of her biggest haters, obviously. I'll be mentioning that in another video. But regardless, she didn't have necessarily a bad performance. Sabrina's collapse was the collapse I was waiting for. What is it? It didn't even put up a fight. It didn't even make a sound. Okay. Falling on a forward roll, like be fucking for real. Like she fell on floor too. I'm like, the artistry was already not giving, right? Like the tumbling was already nasty. So to be falling on top of that is really some audacity for me. But we'll see from her because she does have a tendency to bounce back. I would hate for her to win a medal at Worlds this year, especially because I would be here. But we'll be checking in. Moving on to Asian Games. Kinda did pretty decently. Like, let me tell you something. Joya Ching ain't coming to fuck around. She don't got 2 silver medals back to back, one at Worlds, one at the Olympics. She's coming for gold, okay? She living her life like it's gold and living her life like it's gold. And like mama is coming for the gold medal. And she really like the consistency is consistentizing. Like she's there, okay? And I was very proud of Japan. I was very disappointed in Japan in Paris. They came in last place at the Olympics in team finals, but they only lost to China by point 0.4, and China had their superstars. That's a very strong performance for them. Like they literally almost beat China, which is the first time we really seen Japan go off like this since 2022. So, which also led in disaster in the team finals. Regardless, I was very, proud to be a resident of this country. As of yesterday. Anyway, I've been tracking the Pan American games as well, and the USA looks pretty decent. Without Claire, and Ashley Sullivan, which are two of their top gymnasts this year, and I don't think Simone Rose is there either. We have more depth than I thought. We still don't give a whole ocean, but it's giving lake. Like I'm talking about, like it's at least giving the Mississippi River or the Nile. Like you're talking about, we have more depth than I expected. So that's a very good thing. Like we're not as weak as I thought we were. We're not dealing with a team final this year, which is good because I don't think USA could beat Italy this year. But I do think that, by next year, we should be able to defend our world title in the team finals. Right now, I just want a gymnast to pop off. So I feel confident that we can win the all around title at this world championships. But, you know, Hesley is not where she needs to be, but this is the start of her season. So, I'm talking about this is just her start. I saw folks dragging her DTY when her DTY has always been messy. Her DTY improved a lot at Olympic trials, but before that, like her DTY has never been all of that. So I don't know why people are that shocked by that. Jayla did very well. She's been pretty consistent as of recently. I personally think she was overscored. I'm very disappointed in her floor and that Capella, but if she thinks it's a Lopez, but I've been talking about that. But her bars and beam has came a long way. She looks very good on those two events. But she, the vault and floor, the 2.5 to front layout is an opening tumbling pass. And a double tucking your second, like be fucking for real. And getting a 13-7, 13-8. No comment. But yeah, like besides that, I'm very impressed by her gymnastics as of now. Tiana, she's improved a lot from where she was at these camps. She definitely has a long way to go, but she's came a pretty good way. It's gonna be a big battle for these 4 spots on the team. Like I'm very, curious to see who's gonna get these 4 spots, like who is going to be fighting to make the world team in Jakarta this year. Dulcie had a pretty good DTY as well. Not really anything else, but her DTY was pretty good, which is, we need more DTY. So just seeing people, do good ones is a big step for us as a country right now. Mary Lou Retton, uh, like, I'm just confused because she's supposed to be a conservative Christian woman. Like, I'm sorry, like that doesn't seem like a very conservative lifestyle to me. Like to be out here drinking and driving, like that's putting the people of America's life at risk. That's a crime, right? Like, because you have these conservative women that want to sit up and they care about all the rules and shit like that, but they don't give a fuck. I'm talking about like it'd be the hypocrisy for me, okay? And mama, you just had cancer. So it's like you was just had cancer, you was just broke. So it's like the math just ain't math. Like I'm talking about something just don't add up because the chemo is really getting to her head. Like I know that, you know what I'm talking about, but mama, sit your ass down in your motherfucking house and be a grown ass, middle-aged ass bitch. Like it's not that motherfucking hard, bruh. It's not that hard. Cause I know you fucking lying, but it just like it's the hypocrisy with women like that want to judge everybody else, but be living lifestyles like that. Sit your ass down somewhere. And that's for the ones in the back, okay? Okay. And if you guys aren't tracking, last month, Suni Lee and Jordan Childs unfollowed each other. And Regardless of what happened, I'm on Jordan Child's side because I'm a stand with a black woman, okay? The same way these Asians, the ABPP want to stand with an Asian bitch, regardless of what the fuck's going on. I'm gonna replicate y'all energy. Okay. And I'm not sure what caused the beef. I'm gonna be doing some serious investigating, but they fell out for some reason. And I know that people have been posting and talking about that, but I just wanted to be messy and let y'all speculate as to might what have caused the division between the two. So I know what y'all have been wanting to hear about the most is a Simone Biles versus Riley Gaines incident. I think some valid points were made on both sides. Personally, I do want to address the fact that Riley Gaines is a grifter. She is not that talented of a swimmer. Mama came in fifth place and she was clearly, latching out. White mediocrity is rewarded. Like, we know that. And I recently just saw that Michaela Skinner just jumped to defend her and take her side. So again, this goes well beyond just a trans issue. This goes with the fact that Riley Gaines is just a mediocre swimmer. I'm talking about, like, a lot of it is that. But I do want to say that this was not Simone Biles' fight, and Simone Biles should have never got herself involved in something that did not concern her. And it's very telling to me because we saw Jordan Childs get dragged by racist white supremacists and white nationalists and, by Romanians. And for the most part, Simone Biles ain't have to smoke. Same thing with Gabby Douglas throughout the entirety of, modern gymnastic times. Like when Gabby was getting dragged in 2016. And, since then, Simone Biles ain't say shit. And she was actually close friends with Michaela Skinner and Maggie Nichols in particular, who both spread conspiracies about, Gabby Douglas taking a spot on them on the Olympic team, and she didn't say shit. Here she is turning up over trans issues, a white trans woman at that. Like, what the fuck that have to do with you as a black woman? You know what I'm talking about? Like, that's very telling to me. And it's kind of a pattern where you see a lot of black women who are outraged over things that don't affect them. But when things actually do affect black women or affect people who look like them, they don't have shit to say. That's very fucking weird. And a couple weeks ago, we saw a huge, push for Black women to talk about domestic violence and abuse that Black women suffer from. We saw this with Meg Thee Stallion as well as with Halle Bailey. And Simone Biles ain't have shit to say about that. But this is what you choose to make the issue you gonna die on. Like, I'm talking about, like, that is very weird. I'm talking about. So, people point that out like that. Why do you have all of this smoke for the trans community of all groups of people? It's very weird. And I want to address it personally because when Simone Biles decided to get involved, number one, she had to walk that shit back. So she did all that for no fucking reason because she had to come out her mouth and apologize, which she could have just not said shit at all. Number one, when Simone Biles chose to put herself out there and put a target on her motherfucking back for people who collectively would not do that for her, where was Jay Carey, who's LGBT? Where the fuck was Little Miss Suni Lee, who's always, fucking around with some black man? Where was Suni Lee at? I'm talking about. I understand why Jordan Childs ain't say shit, but where was Hazley Rivera? Where was Little Miss I Know Black ass Lori Hernandez who wanted to be a Afro Latina during the Black Lives Matter movement, right? Like, where was Little Miss White feminist Ali Raisman? Where was Sean Johnson and Nastia Lukin? So when black women choose to take these public stands, no one is collectively going to help you. You're on your own. You know what I'm talking about? And it's just so frustrating that, it doesn't seem like a lot of, not a lot, because I think the collective do get it, especially now. But some black women just don't get it. You know what I'm talking about? And you need to learn to pick and choose your own battles. And you shouldn't be putting a cape on to protect anyone who's not you. Okay? Especially the trans community in particular and the LGBT, the entire LGBT umbrella, because there's a lot of people in the LGBT community who make very misogynist type comments. There's plenty of LGBT people who make extremely derogatory comments towards black women, right? I've seen trans women make fun of black women's hair, black women's bodies, black women's vaginas, right? Like their breasts. I've seen all of that kind of stuff. And again, when you have the collective of trans women, who be on social media talking about how they look better than women and berating women, right? But expecting those same women to come to their aid is very fucking weird to me. I'm sorry. So you think you can come on the internet and brag about fucking around with somebody's man behind their back? But you know what I'm talking about? Like, you don't see the delusion in this, right? And the biggest issue I have with trans people is trans women are trying to, a lot of them are trying to latch themselves onto black women and trying to make their struggles the same as black women. Oh, well, black women deal with transphobia too. And I'm sorry, they don't. I don't know a black woman in my life that's ever been misgendered. I do see where people call Simone Biles and Serena Williams and Michelle Obama and Wendy Williams and Angel Reese and numerous other prominent black women, Meg Thee Stallion, where they try to compare them to men, but they know those women aren't men. They're doing that to bully them and to empower non-black women. They're not delusional enough to not understand that those aren't fucking women. You know what I'm talking about? So that's a complete difference. Like they have been doing that to black women for centuries. And yes, it might overlap with what trans women deal with, but it's not the same. It's a complete difference from someone who used to be a man to transition to being a woman. So women have every right to want to guard their spaces and say I only want to compete against people who were born women. Like that's not transphobic to say at all. But again, I do understand because Simone Biles did not say that she wanted trans women in women's sports. She said they can have their own league or etc. But regardless of what was going on, that was not her fight to fight. Like she should have let the LGBT community let trans people fight their own motherfucking battles. I don't want to hear no people in my comments like, oh well, why can't you stand up? I'm sorry, we don't live in that world. We don't live in a world where everyone protects other groups of people. We don't. Black women are the most unprotected group in society for a fucking reason. So I'm fucking over it. I'm tired of trans people always coming for black women because I see it all the time. I grew up in Atlanta. And until you're ready to clock that, until you're ready to clock the fact that you have hella trans women, hella gay men, hella bisexual men who fuck around with down low men, right? And now we're seeing in Atlanta and other, majority black cities across the country where black women are more likely to catch HIV than any other group, even higher than gay white men, because of what you have these down low ass niggas going around and fucking around with you're talking about with this subgroup of people, and that subgroup of people are more likely to have those STDs because we know that men who have sex with men or men or people who partake in backdoor action are more likely to catch HIV. That's just a stat. You're not going to come out here and say, oh, you're being anti-LGBT despite the fact that we've seen the statistics, right? Like y'all are out here protesting the Trump administration for trying to ban PrEP or trying to stop medical providers for providing that. But in the same breath, you're going to say that that's not something that primarily affects y'all. Like I said, I will clock it. I don't have, listen, I'm not afraid of y'all. I know some of y'all are going to unsubscribe what the fuck I had to say, but I'm standing on it. Black women do not put on a cape for anyone, period. Whether that be the LGBT community, immigrants, even black men. I don't want to see black women out here protecting black men because black men as a collective don't come to their aid the same way. And moving on to the next topic, as you guys are tracking. So, the big ICE protests, which are having a disproportionate impact on a lot of communities. A lot of Americans are out protesting ICE, in particular the Hispanic and Latino community and Asian Americans to a lesser degree. And I want Black women to remember the 2024 exit polls. Okay. So again, I'm very frustrated with the fucking gaslighting. It's hilarious to me because Donald Trump told these people what he was going to do to them. He told them his plans for this community. He told them that. And they still chose to do what the fuck they chose to do. So you chose to give someone the last Infinity Stone. You chose to give Thanos the last Infinity Stone. And now that he's making your asses disappear, you acting fucking surprised. Like that's crazy work to me. I'm talking about. And the biggest thing you keep hearing people say is, "Oh well, the legal immigrants that the illegal immigrants they couldn't vote." And another thing is the illegal immigrants have legal family members though. I don't know a Mexican that I've ever met that don't have undocumented family members. I don't personally. So if your own family did not choose to stand by you, what the fuck am I supposed to do? Like that's I'm talking about like that's insane. I'm talking about. And the second thing is what they always do, these other groups to try to bully black people into supporting them is they would try to throw other groups under the bus to try to make it seem like they've done more for black people than they really have. And I understand that there are Asians or Hispanics or Palestinians or, Native Americans, individuals that have helped black people or stood beside black people. But as a collective, I'm talking about the vast majority of the Hispanic community has never aligned itself with black people. Never and never will, most likely. So again, to create these false ass fucking narratives is fucking frustrating to me because it's never happened. And they could create whatever lie they want to create, but black people have always been on their own. Those exit polls are nothing more but a reflection of our life. And if you have allies, you don't have to ask for them. Okay. You don't have to, if we have allies, we would see them, right? I don't think Germany or Japan has to question the fact that the United States is the ally to them. And another thing they do to try to gaslight Black women and try to say, oh, well, solidarity isn't transactional. Yes, it is. You think the United States just protects South Korea and Japan and Europe for no reason? You think that the US maintains close ties to Israel and Canada and all these other countries for no fucking reason? No, they do it for a reason, bitch. So don't let them come on here and come in your face with that motherfucking gaslighting. And they also love to make it seem like, oh, well, it was the Cubans, it was the Venezuelans, when Kamala lost Arizona, Nevada as well. She did. Arizona, Nevada also flips red because she lost so much ground with Hispanics, particularly Mexican Americans, right? Because there aren't that many Cubans and Venezuelans in Arizona and Nevada. Texas went from being a state Trump won by 5 in 2020 to a state he won by 14 because he did so much better with Hispanic and Latino voters. California went from a state that Biden won by 29 to a state that Kamala only won by 20. She also lost a lot of ground with Puerto Ricans and Dominicans in New York City. He did. New York trended 11 points to the right. He also lost a lot of ground with Central American Hispanics in the DMV area, particular in the DC suburbs. There were dramatic swings Republican with every Latino demographic, not just Cubans and Venezuelans. So again, we've seen the data. You're not gonna play in our motherfucking face. And even in 2020, during the Black Lives Matter movement, Donald Trump still did better with Hispanic and Asian voters than he did in 2020. So if Hispanic and Asians cared so much about Black Lives Matter, why did a lot more of them vote for him in 2020 than 2016? So again, they play in our fucking face like we can't do motherfucking research, and they hope that we have ignorance. And I see them now they're trying to act I see a lot of them trying to say that, oh, Elon rigged the results. Elon changed the numbers. No, because this is a continuous trend. Like the trend amongst these groups, like even in 2022, there were trends to the right. And the trends were worse in blue states where Republicans have no power. So lie again. And something that y'all really aren't ready for is, like I said, I'm gonna go here. A lot of the Hispanics and Asians that did vote for Kamala are anti-black and don't fuck with black people. That's what y'all aren't ready for. Just because someone voted for Kamala does not mean they're allied to black people and black women in particular. There's hella people who voted for Kamala who don't like black people. Just like there's hella racist white people who voted for Obama twice. Okay, there are Hispanic and Asians that don't like black people, who look down on black people, who think dark skin is ugly, right? Who disparage black people, but they want to protect their families from mass deportations, right? They want to make it easier for some of their family members to immigrate here, right? They have an incentive to vote Democratic. And regardless of how they feel about black people, they look past that to protect their own family members and to protect themselves from anti-immigrant rhetoric. George Lopez voted for Kamala. George Lopez is a very anti-black Hispanic. The anti-black Hispanics on the LA City Council voted for her. Okay, so don't let them play in your fucking face. Because like I said, I know the motherfucking research. Stop it. And here's what I'm gonna finish it on is the biggest thing I like to say is, well, if you don't help them, who's gonna help you? We're all in this together. He's gonna come for black people next. He never didn't come for black people. He's been coming for black people his whole entire time. Black people have always been targeted by racist white people. And when they come for black people, they're not going to help us as a collective anyway. They didn't help us in November, so why would they help us now? So, like I said, don't fuck with me, bitch. You never helped us as a collective. And when they do come for us, it's a more likely chance that Hispanics, Asians, Arabs, Native Americans, they're going to primarily side white people against black people anyway. So, like I said, fuck out my face with that bullshit. But anyway, black people, make sure you stay your black ass home. I just want to listen for all the niggas that's watching this. Post in the comments what's on the menu for Juneteenth. What the fuck you grilling for Juneteenth? That's what I want to know. Okay, what's the plan for Juneteenth? That's what I want to hear from y'all. But anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning to this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe down below. Make sure to tune into my live I had last week. Another important thing is I will be coming out with the most overrated gymnast part 3 series this upcoming week. So make sure to be tuned in for that. But anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please like, comment, and subscribe down below. Make sure you have a nice day, you guys. Goodbye.